This is Orlando Sentinel Now.
Hello and welcome. It's Friday, February 4th, and this is Orlando Sentinel Now. Today, we talk about quiet zones being put in place in Orlando for passing trains, plus Girl Scouts and a new cookie available. I'm your host, Joe Mario Pedersen, and joining me today, I have transportation reporter Kevin Spear and retail reporter Austin Fuller. Thank you both so much for being here today. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Orlando, can you hear the train whistle blow? Not anymore. According to Kevin Spear's most recent headline. Kevin, coming to you for this, Florida Department of Transportation has told us that we're getting quiet zones throughout Orlando. A lot to unpack here. First thing I want to talk about first. Where are these quiet zones going to be placed throughout Orlando?
Well, it is a single quiet zone from North Orlando to South Orlando. And it takes in 35 roads that cross the railroad tracks that carry Sunrail. So it's been a long time in coming, almost a decade, in trying to get those intersections equipped with safety gear so that this quiet zone could go into effect this week.
Kevin, on that note, the safety gear, has FDOT talked about how much that's going to cost or what kind of gear that includes?
Yeah, well, it's a done deal. The money's been spent, the gear's been installed. So what it is lots more crossing arms, more lights, bells, and even like on sidewalks along roads, little pedestrian arms as well. The whole idea is to make the intersection much more impregnable. Is that a word? Much more difficult to get across if you're a car or pedestrian when those crossing arms are down, the lights are blinking and all of that. It's a really tedious process, as a DOT guy said, because you got to get the money, you got to design it, you got to do it, you got to get the state to review it and the feds to review it. It seems like it takes forever. It's government, right? But they got it done. And it's been a long time in coming. Think of the decades that trains have come through the heart of Orlando, wailing away in the middle of the night, waking everybody up. That's pretty much gone now.
It is surprisingly loud. I remember living in Audubon Park and being able to hear that whistle sometimes. So one part of your story, Kevin, that I thought was really interesting was how this news came into light. How did FDOT make the announcement for this?
Well, it is FDOT, and it's a big bureaucracy. So I don't think a whole lot of thought went into it, but they just implemented it on Monday and did not announce it until a Sunrail Commission meeting on Thursday. I don't think anything's extraordinary about that. They just have a big bureaucracy and a lot of people, and sometimes the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And it was forever in coming. So that they finally got it done, I think that's the remarkable news.
It is somewhat fitting that for a quiet zone, the news was ushered in quietly. Yeah, to say the least.
You lived in Audubon Park, and those horns they have to blow at 95 decibels. And there's a set pattern for that. It's 2 long blasts, a short blast, and then a long blast. That's each time. And then they'll do it several times at an intersection. And when I've listened to those engineers, I think they think of themselves as, a musician playing that horn and making it drag out forever. I won't miss it, definitely. And, I've seen these quiet zones all across the country. And there's a distinctive sign at the intersection that says something like quiet zone or no horns will blow, look both ways and all of that. I felt like the Central Florida here was really way behind the ball as far as that goes. It's a federal regulation that allows this. It's been out there forever. So we finally caught up.
You mentioned multiple places throughout the country having quiet zones.
Yeah.
Is it possible or has it been talked about that other areas of Central Florida might receive a quiet zone too?
There are lots of other quiet zones in Florida, yes. So what brought this about is that the main rail line that comes down through the heart of Orlando, through Winter Park, Kissimmee, and all of that, that's been in existence and used by freight trains, Orlando Utilities Commission coal trains, and Amtrak for a long time. When Sunrail finally came along in 2014, there's a whole lot of discussion about all the train blowing that's going to happen with Sunrail. And it's true, a Sunrail, on a typical day, there are 40 trains, 20 both ways. That's a lot of horn blowing. So DOT, the owner, the custodian right now of our Sunrail commuter train, got behind the move to implement quiet zones. And they had to work with all the cities and counties involved too, because the cities and counties have to do a lot of the work. So among the first was Winter Park, and Kissimmee's done it, Orange County's done it, Maitland's done it, and that leaves Seminole County, and they're on track to finish it up. Obviously, Orlando is the most intensely urban, and the most people are exposed to the train blasts here in the heart of Orlando.
Absolutely.
Like
And
you.
yeah, I will not be missing it. I think you'll be hard to find anyone that actually will be. But if you're all trying to find out more about that, take a look at Kevin's work right now at orlandosentinel.com. Kevin, thanks a lot.
Yep.
All right, Austin, I want to come over to you now for some more good news. It's Girl Scout cookie season. And on top of that, Girl Scouts have announced that there's a new cookie. Can you tell us about it?
That's right. It is a Girl Scout cookie season. The Scouts have been selling their cookies on the personal level for a couple weeks now, and the famous booths where you could buy the box of the cookies are gonna really start popping up around Orlando this weekend. The new cookie is brownie inspired. I haven't tried it, but it's apparently crunchy and it has a caramel flavored cream.
Right. And correct me if I'm wrong. That is the Adventureful. I wanna say.
Adventurefuls, it's plural.
Adventurefuls. So, okay. So brownie-based cookie there. On top of this, in your most recent story about this cookie and about Girl Scout cookie season, you mentioned that sales last year took a hard dip, and that was because of the pandemic. Of course, so many people have been impacted by the pandemic, and Girl Scouts were no exception there. So how big of an impact was that last year?
Sure. So you might remember last summer, the Girl Scouts were still selling cookies into the summer. It's normally a February, March kind of, a little bit of January kind of thing. They were still selling them into the summer. They ended up having to donate about 50,000 to 70,000 boxes of unsold cookies. That's for here in Central Florida. So overall here in Central Florida, they sold about 1.34 million boxes, which was down from 1.7 million before the effects of the pandemic really hit in the previous years. And this year, they're projecting a little bit of an increase from that 1.34 up to 1.4 million.
That's awesome. As far as that increase goes, are they attributing that to buzz around a new cookie, or perhaps people are just feeling more comfortable in buying them?
The Girl Scouts, they don't have an issue finding people who like cookies, but last year, 30% of their scouts didn't participate with the pandemic. They're expecting more scouts are going to participate this year, so more scouts will be selling cookies. One of the scouts I talked to, she said she normally sells her cookies at school, and last year everyone was doing online learning, so she couldn't. She ended up selling all her cookies, but it took her a lot longer than it normally does.
Austin, you had mentioned that the famous booths are going to start popping up. People will be able to start buying them from there. But for those who are concerned about any health complications or just don't want any kind of social interaction, how else might they be able to buy these cookies?
You can, in certain parts of Orlando, you can get them through DoorDash this year. Last year, they used Grubhub, but they're going to scale back the area that is available this year. They're going to focus on the areas that were most active. And again, it'll be through DoorDash. And then if you know a Scout's family, I believe that they have their own online store, but you have to know the Scout to access that.
Well, there you go. If you're trying to find out more, take a look at Austin's story at orlandosentinel.com, where, of course, you can get caught up on all the different news and events happening in and around Central Florida. For those of you who are subscribers to the Orlando Sentinel, thank you so much for supporting work like this and supporting local journalism. If you want to become a subscriber, it's easy to do so. All you need to do is visit orlandosentinel.com/subscribe. But as for OSN, that will do it for us today. That will do it for us this week. A big thank you to Kevin and Austin for keeping us filled in what's going on in our community. We'll be back again with more news next week. We'll see you then. Stay healthy and stay safe.
Watch Orlando Sentinel Now live every weekday at noon on our Facebook page and on orlandosentinel.com.